Just paused here temporarily just to show you guys something. We're going to have a look out at the beach first of all, because I wanted to point out when I'm driving along, you want to be not only focusing on what's ahead, because you always have to think when you're forward driving how far ahead you can see, how much momentum you're going to need, and whether or not your rut lines change, and how much power you need to provide your engine to keep that momentum going. And also places to stop or turn around if you see them and you know that that's going to be something you need. So you're looking for quite a few things, so there's a lot to take into account. So watching the beach, looking ahead. Now I just wanted to point out here, as you can actually see just in front, someone has, and I'm doing this here, camera's attached guys, so I'm not actually driving with no hands by the way. But I just wanted to point out, you can actually see someone else's rut lines or their marks, where you can see they've driven off this main line down there and they've actually circled right up back onto the main line. So someone's used that as a way of turning around. The reason I point that out is that I now know that that's a spot where I could possibly do the exact same thing using their marks they've already made in the sand. They've compacted that sand already. And I might be able to use those myself if I needed to, and that's less work for your car than having to say jump off and try and do it down there where you have no idea how soft or hard the sand is without getting out and checking first. And when I am looking out onto the ocean here, we're trying to look for our gutters and the entrances to and from those, and also at the moment you can see that the high tide mark is just off here, and then tide's coming in, which means that I can see wherever possible. It's a good idea to have a look at or scout your beach out at low tide, because you can see the deeper mark of where a gutter might be when high tide's up, and where it might be flat. And you can also see if there's any areas that are being churned up to the left and right of those dips in the sand. I'll explain that when I draw it on the ground and do a diagram from it, but I'm hoping I can find one physically as I drive along that I can point out. But I just wanted to make special note of keeping an eye ahead, looking out for signs like these tracks like this for turnaround points, and also scanning the beach for a spot that you'd like to fish, whilst also monitoring the tide and where the high tide mark is and how much room you've got to work with. All right, so I'm just going to keep moving along, but there's just an important thing to note here for the forward driving aspect of turning around and where to do that wherever possible. I'll sign off for now guys, and I'll try and find a spot where I can point out gutters for you.